We got a call that they had a yellow jacket nest in the house. It was sight unseen. We didn't do an inspection first. We just responded. So we get out there and walked around to inspect the property and realized there was a roughly 7-10 foot long yellow jacket nest in this eave of this house. So after we assessed it, we went back to the trucks, of course, put on our bee suits. We actually wear jackets under the bee suits when dealing with yellow jacket, especially in the summer, because once you start sweating, the bee suit sticks, and once it sticks, you get stung. They'll sting straight through it. So we got the pesticides we needed and the tools we needed and went back and then started taking the soffits apart and pulling the nest apart and getting it out of there and killing all the yellow jackets.
This nest has really caught a lot of attention today.
Yes, it has.
Are you surprised by how many people are surprised by it, or are you surprised by the nest itself?
Well, we had that rash of the super nest back in 2012, so we dealt with a lot of them then. I mean, that was one of the bigger ones I've ever pulled out of a structure. I've been doing this 10 years, so some of the stuff that's so shocking to everybody else, I've seen it, so it's not quite as interesting. But seeing one that was that large in the soffits, I mean, the brood comb was just packed in there. I mean, David and I spent an hour and a half, pulling everything apart and getting it out and killing yellow jackets. It was pretty substantial. By the time we got it all bagged up, I mean, we probably had 8 to 12 pounds of brood cells out of that nest that we bagged up in a trash bag to haul away. It was pretty substantial. And the fact that the homeowners let it get that big was a little unsettling, because a nest that size is dangerous.
As for, you mentioned seeing some in 2012. Have you seen any since then that are this size?
Haven't seen any this size since 2012. No, ma'am. We deal with yellow jacket nests every year, every summer. Usually it's smaller nests in the ground. The biggest they get on an average year is probably about the size of like a basketball or something. Not too big. They're in the ground. You dig them up, kill the yellow jackets, and it's usually a one and done deal. This nest was so large that a nest that size probably has a couple hundred to maybe even 1,000 foragers out at any given moment, going to find food and going to get the wood that they chew up and then make into their nesting material. So we had to actually come back and retreat a second time about 48 hours later. And when we got done treating it, in the short amount of time it took us to walk back to our trucks and take the bee suits off, there were already a couple hundred back that had been out foraging while we were there. And then the next day, when we got 48 hours later when we came back, there were probably about another 500 or so.
As for the nest itself,
Mm-hmm.
Something this big, it sounds like it would have taken a while for these yellow jackets.
They build it faster than you would think. What's going on is we had such a mild winter that all the workers didn't die off. So these yellow jacket nests started the season off with a surplus. So these things are outgrowing their ground nests at a pace that they just can't expand it. So then what they do is they leave and they go find a structure. The reason the structures wind up being is it's already hollow. They don't have to excavate anything. It's already there. And so that's what's happening. These nests are just getting so big they're splitting off. And they have all their queens from the previous season. They have a surplus of workers. Normally most of the workers die in the winter, but we didn't really have a winter last year. So they just lived through it. It's pretty crazy one got that big in a house. I don't think I'd have let it go that long.
What should people know who are watching this, who are thinking, oh my goodness, I don't want that to happen to me?
Just walk around your house on occasion, take a look at it. Just be surprised how many people don't pay attention to their house. They just pull in the driveway, get out of their car, go in the back door of the garage, never actually walk around and look at anything. It's a good idea, not only for yellow jackets, but we deal with raccoons, rats, mice, squirrels. You used to be surprised the damage I've seen on homes from other animals that people were unaware was even done. So just walk around, be aware, and when you start seeing yellow jackets, go ahead and call a professional. Like I said, they'll attack unwarranted. Once one attacks you, it stings, it leaves a pheromone tracer. The other yellow jackets pick up on that pheromone. It's kind of like the alarm bell, and that triggers all the rest of them to come after you too. So a nest the size of the one that we got down in South Fairhope is that would go from oops to needing to go to a hospital very quickly. A nest that size could be lethal if you weren't able to get away fast enough.